Welcome, 7th grade, to the lesson for today. We're going to go through a practice essay. At this point, you should have opened the Google Classroom assignment, and you have this link of this video. I'm going to switch over to the screen share for a second here, or I guess the rest of the time, and I'm going to have you align your windows. So I'll show you how you need to align your windows so that you can complete this assignment as well as possible. So start by going on this diarrhea practice essay assignment. And then secondly, open up Site 1. And then eventually you're going to arrange your screen so that you can see the video of me. Have Site 1 open, and then you're also going to open up Site 2 in the same window. But it's going to look something like this when you get done. So have the essay over here on this side of the screen, and then I'm going to pull out the video, and I'm just going to use this as a sample here. So I'm going to make this window pretty small, just the video there, and I'm going to put that up over here, and then I'm going to shrink this screen right here, shrink it down a little bit, and put that underneath the video screen so that you can see the video. And then over here, move that up a little bit. Over here, I'm going to have the website. And you can see that this is the first website. This is that Kids Health website. And it's pretty, I'm going to move this down just a little bit so that you can see the video and sort of the essay. I'm actually going to push this up so that we get a little bit more of that there. And you can see here, this is sort of how I want your windows aligned. So take a second, you can hit pause on the video and align the windows so that you get them aligned like this. Once you have your windows aligned, I'm going to take you through what we have here first. Now, as you can see, I've already got some things highlighted on this page. And this essay is going to be broken down into really 5 basic parts. We're going to look at some of the basics about the disease, or not really disease, about the sort of digestive issue of diarrhea. Then we're going to talk about the symptoms, we're going to talk about the causes, and then you guys are going to do some independent research on the treatments. But this is all about kind of using some of our resources to really write a good essay. So the first thing that you're going to need to do, if you have not already done so, is click on your DGO button on this particular site, and you can do the first one along with me. Your DGO button, if you are not logged in and it's not working for you, you will click on the Google account and sign in with your Google account. Once you have signed in, then you will be at a screen like this. And what you need to do is click this button, and then you're going to click the annotate, and it will bring up this. And you just choose your highlighter. You can pick your color. I'm going to go with yellow on this one. And so you can see on the basics, I have most kids get it at some point. And well, it says right here, most kids battle diarrhea from time to time. So I've highlighted that, and what I'm doing with every highlight that I've done is I'm taking what I've highlighted and putting it into my own words. So the first thing says, most kids battle diarrhea from time to time. I've changed that to my own words when I put it on the note sheet to say most kids get it at some point. And I put S1 because that's from Site 1. And it says the good news is that it's often caused by infections and that don't last long and usually are not disruptive or dangerous. So I highlight that where it says don't last long and usually are more disruptive than dangerous. So it says it doesn't usually last long. I'm actually going to flip over to this other site here that we were at, and you would have landed on this page. As you can see, the Mayo Clinic Diseases and Conditions. This is Site 2. So if you have that open on the same window but just another tab, you'll be able to flip over, and you can see that I've got highlights on this one. If I click annotate, it says diarrhea often means more frequent trips to the toilet and a greater volume of stool. Well, I'm going to get to that here in a little bit. And it says diarrhea signs and symptoms usually last a couple of days. So since this is from Site 2, I put usually lasts a couple of days because it says diarrhea signs and symptoms usually last a couple of days. I put this into my own words. Usually lasts a couple of days. Well, there's not really any other way to say that. So, and I got that from Site 2. Now we're going to move on to symptoms, and I'm going to step back to Site 1, and it says symptoms. Symptoms are just what happens to your body. So it says right here, diarrhea, which frequent or runny or watery movements, bowel movements, poop, is usually brought on by gastrointestinal infections caused by viruses, bacteria, or parasites. So with symptoms, it says frequent runny or watery stools. We got that off frequent runny or watery bowel movements. I just said stools. And if we look at this site, and I can go to the symptoms section, and then I can see right here, if I click what I highlighted, I got frequent loose watery stools. So it says that in Site 1 and Site 2. It also says greater volume of stools. I believe it said that on another section of this Site 2 earlier. And then it says abdominal cramps, fever, or blood and stool. So I got all of that from Site 2. All right, and again, if you are on Site 2, you'll see these sections here, and you can just click and you can go to the correct section. So since we're done with that, we've got symptoms. We've labeled the symptoms. We've highlighted those. Now we can go on to causes. So I'm going to go to causes on this site. I'm going to turn on my highlights that I've already highlighted. And then I can kind of read through these. It says diarrhea occurs when food and fluids you ingest pass too quickly or in too large an amount or both to your colon. Ingest means just that you eat. So it says it occurs in food and fluid, occurs if food and fluids go through your colon too fast. Okay? So it says pass too quickly. So I just said too fast. I put it in my own words. And then it says if liquids from the stools you eat aren't absorbed, the result is a watery bowel movement. So it says if liquids aren't absorbed, poop is watery. That's what I put from Site 2 in my own words. Now, I'm going to move on. It says rotavirus is a common cause of acute childhood diarrhea. If I go back to Site 1, and I've already read through that, I go down here. It says a common cause of diarrhea is viral gastroenteritis, stomach flu, la da da da. Rotavirus is a frequent cause of viral gastroenteritis in kids. So that's why I put it can be caused by viruses like rotavirus, because it said rotavirus on this site, and it said rotavirus on this site. So we know that it can be caused by viruses. Can also be caused by bacteria and parasites. So it's on this site, it says bacteria and parasites. Parasite like Giardia, or a bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, or Shigella. If I go back to this site, and then I click on the second page of this, refresh that. Sorry, I'm going to click on the second page again. Then I also see in my highlights some of those same things. E. coli, Salmonella, Shigella. There's the Giardia. So diarrheal infections can be a symptom of non-infectious. We're getting to that in a second here. But there's the many types of bacteria and parasites can cause diarrhea. So there we go. It says it in both Site 1 and Site 2. One other thing I'm going to look at here, because I wrote that it said it on Site 1 and Site 2, it says it may be caused by other conditions like lactose intolerance or celiac disease. So I can see right here, it says diarrheal infections are no part of kids, can be a symptom of other non-infectious diseases. So like it says lactose intolerance, it says celiac disease. So if I come over here, it also says lactose intolerance. It says chronic diarrhea can be caused by Crohn's disease, celiac disease. So that's why I've put that on there, that it can be caused by those things. All right. It also says here that about traveling can cause be a cause of that. And I sort of lost where that is. Now, oh, here we go. Diarrhea can be caused by bacteria and parasites, common when traveling to developing countries. So common when traveling to other countries. That's why I put S2 on that. Another thing, we got lactose intolerance. We already talked about that. And it also says on this site, Site 2, it doesn't say this on Site 1, it says artificial sweeteners can cause diarrhea in some otherwise healthy people. So we can see that artificial sweeteners can also cause this. So if I now scroll down, I'm going to look at the paragraphs that I've created as part of this. So in part one, it says have a fun topic sentence and use order words to tell about your other paragraphs. So in this first paragraph, I'm going to get a fun topic sentence, and I'm going to tell them, my audience, what I'm going to talk about in the other paragraphs. So it says diarrhea, sometimes called the runs or the Hershey squirts, is a common problem with the intestines. It says in this essay, I will tell you about the symptoms of diarrhea. And again, the first thing we're going to talk about is the symptoms. And then it says, next, I will tell you about the causes. We're going to talk about the causes. And then it says, then I will tell you about how to treat it. We're going to talk about some of the treatments. Lastly, I'll tell you some other interesting facts about diarrhea. We're not going to do that today, but that will be a final part of the essay. So, in part two, the first thing I'm going to talk about says in this essay, we'll tell you about the symptoms. So, I am going to write a topic sentence, and then I'm going to have descriptive sentences about the symptoms of diarrhea. It says, you probably know if you have diarrhea. If not, here are some of the symptoms. I go back up to my notes here, and in my notes, it says frequent or runny stools, greater volume in the stool, abdominal pain or cramps, fever, or blood in stool. So I just list some of those things. You will have frequent runny stools and have to go to the bathroom more. The stools you have will have greater volume. Also, you may have abdominal cramps. Very simple paragraph that I wrote based on the notes that I took from the symptoms. Okay. The next paragraph, it says you need a topic sentence, and then you need descriptive sentences telling about the causes of diarrhea. Well, I had a whole bunch of causes of diarrhea. So in my paragraph, I'm going to talk about all of those causes, but I'm going to simplify it a little bit. So I start off with the topic sentence that says, there are a lot of things that can cause diarrhea. There are. One is viruses. Viruses, like rotavirus, are one thing that can cause it. So we got that right from here, where it says, caused by viruses like rotavirus. All right? Next, and then you'll see that I even skipped some of those things. I didn't really talk about these first two bullet points because it didn't really quite apply for this particular essay. So even if you have extra bullet points, you're not necessarily going to use all of them. It's just good to have extra information. So then the next thing, it says different kinds of bacteria and parasites can also cause it. Now, one of the things that I skipped here is we talked about E. coli, Salmonella, Shigella. We just left out some of the specifics. We just said that bacteria and parasites can cause diarrhea. So now, if I go down here, it says it's common when traveling to other countries because the water may have something in it. So that was an extra fact that I added that wasn't from my notes. It says common when traveling from other countries, and I just added in that it has to do with the water a lot of times. So we also have that it may be caused by other conditions and artificial sweeteners. If I come down to my paragraph here, I just made sentences out of that. Diarrhea may also be caused by another condition like lactose intolerance or celiac disease. That's directly from the notes. And then it says another cause is artificial sweeteners. All right, so now I've completed 3 paragraphs about the kind of outline of what my essay is about, the symptoms of diarrhea, the causes of diarrhea, and now we're going to talk about the treatment. So if you come over here on Site 2, we're going to click over to the treatment and drugs section. We're going to leave it there. And then on here, we're going to flip over to part 4. And then you go right down here, caring for your child. Okay? And if you go to caring for your child, you're going to see a lot of things with regard to treatments here. What you guys need to do is now use your Digo and use the annotate on your Digo to begin making highlights. And you can use whatever color you want, and you can highlight some of the more important things. After you have made a highlight, go back to the notes here, and you want to put in a note based on one of your highlights. So you can go here, and you can make your highlights on this page. And if you see things that are on Site 1 and on Site 2, when you cite it, just like you did here, where I said may be caused by other conditions like lactose intolerance or celiac disease, I put Site 1 and Site 2 as my sources for that. When you've got done making your highlights and then summarizing your statements, you will go ahead and write a paragraph about the treatment for diarrhea. So in review, you're going to make highlights on Site 2 and highlights on Site 1. Again, it's page 4 of Site 1. After you have made the highlights, you're going to come back and restate the things that you've highlighted on little bullet points here. And I've only have 3 bullet points, but you can obviously have like 5 or 6 or 7 bullet points if need be, kind of like I did up here. But do that for both Site 1 and Site 2. Wherever you got your information from, just make a bullet point summarizing the information in your own words. After you get done with that, write your own 5 to 6 sentence paragraph detailing what you have learned based on the bullet points that you have done here. We're just going to skip over the other part, and that should cover it. So go ahead, you can get started, and you can close out the window of the video now.